Are you a thumber or a pincher? Now, if you don't know anything about flying FPV drones, you might be thinking, what on earth is this guy talking about? What I'm referring to is the way that FPV pilots hold their transmitters. There are a few different ways that you can hold your transmitter and your sticks. Some pilots use their thumbs like you would when using a video game controller. Some pinch the sticks, and then there are some that do a hybrid with their thumb on top and their pointer finger wrapped around. For me, I'm in the third category. I do a hybrid. Now, why is that important? Well, depending on how you hold your sticks, different styles of controllers might be more or less comfortable. I know they're called transmitters, but for the purpose of this video, I will be calling it a controller. Today, we'll be talking about different FPV controllers and more specifically reviewing the RadioMaster Boxer Crush. I'm not going to get into the super technical specs of this controller because there are a ton, and there are other YouTubers who have deep dives on their channels, and I would suggest that if you want the super technical deep dive, you go check out one of their videos. In this video, I will be unboxing the controller, comparing this Boxer style controller to a gamepad style controller. I'll be sharing why I bought this controller, and then I'll talk about the pros and cons of it. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Let's get into this unboxing. First off, RadioMaster did not send me this radio. I purchased it with my own money, and the opinions expressed in this video are solely mine. First thing you see when you open the box is the carrying case, and this carrying case is so nice. It comes with your quick start guide and a pack of stickers. Open up the case, and there she is in all her glory, the beautiful Boxer Crush. I absolutely love this thing. Comes with a screen protector in order to protect your screen from scratches. Pulling it out of the case right now, and it feels so nice in the hands. I can't get over that. It comes with a gimbal protector, which is super nice that your AG1 gimbals will be protected. The battery case is nice and big, comes with 18650 adapter, and that's the SD card that comes with the controller that has the Edge TX software on it. And then you've got a couple accessories to go with it. You've got tools and springs, and then you've got a USB-C cable, and it comes with a Boxer Crush keychain. Now let's get into some of the specs of this controller. It comes in 7 different colors. I got the iceberg blue. It has CNC aluminum AG01 Hall effect gimbals. It has internal express LRS, a standard junior module compartment, an internal cooling fan, adjustable and removable T antenna for the express LRS. It's got an oversized battery compartment that comes with an adapter for 2 18650 batteries, or you can use a 2S 6200 milliamp hour pack. It has a fabric handle, and it comes with an SD card with Edge TX loaded on it. The price of this controller is $189, which is crazy because the AG01 gimbals alone are $130. So now that we know what's included and the features on this controller, why on earth did I buy it? When I first got started into FPV, I was told to jump on the Crossfire system because it was either that or FR Sky, and Crossfire was more stable and had better range. When I was asking about controllers, I was suggested the TBS Tango 2, and so I bought it. It was a game style controller. It wasn't as expensive as the big controllers, and it had Crossfire built into it. I had no idea what I was doing, and my buddy Hunter was an amazing pilot, so I just took his advice because it was all very confusing to me. But that was all I bought, just the controller. I spent a few months in the simulator with my TBS Tango 2, and then for my first FPV drone, I ended up with the DJI FPV drone, which I used the DJI controller, and it's again a game style controller. See the pattern here? Once I graduated from the DJI FPV drone and wanted to get into 5-inch drones, I was able to go back to using the TBS Tango 2 to fly instead of the DJI controller. And that was it. Every drone I had was Crossfire, and I used the Tango 2. That was until Beta FPV reached out to me and wanted me to review some of their FPV drone beginner kits. And guess what controller came with those? A game style controller. You guessed it. I just figured that was the style of controller that I would use. The industry felt like it was going away from these bulky controllers and slimming down to a game style controller. The Beta FPV controllers were for ELRS, and my Tango 2 was for Crossfire, and then I had a controller for DJI products. Every single controller is different, and the gimbals are different tensions, the sticks are different lengths, and it made for a different flight experience every different controller I would use. After having so much fun with the Beta FPV Tiny Whoops, I decided I wanted more and bought the Mobula 6. I was going to use one of the Beta FPV controllers for the drone since it uses ELRS, but one day when I was playing the sim, I was changing out the controllers each race in order to feel the difference in my flying, and there was a big difference. I had thought to myself, there has got to be a way I can use all of my drones with one controller. I want to be more consistent with my flying on the simulator and in real life, which changing controllers for each different drone isn't helping me out with that. So I already had this idea in mind that I wanted to get a different controller, but then I went flying with my buddy Radbeard FPV, and he had the TBS Mambo. He let me fly his setup with it, and I was impressed.
Man, I do really like the size of this radio too.
It was my first time using a controller that wasn't a gamepad style, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It was so comfortable to use, and it just felt natural because, once again, I'm a hybrid pincher. I thought, yeah, I'll just get that one. The problem is if I want to do ELRS and Crossfire on that controller, I would have to buy 2 modules for it, which I didn't want to do because, we out here balling on a budget. I started to do some research, and that was when I came across the Boxer Crush. Then I saw it had the AG01 CNC gimbals on it, had ELRS built in, and could take a Crossfire module, and I was sold. I ordered it immediately, and I have used this controller every single day for the past 2 months and haven't touched any of my game style controllers that I have other than flying my Avata 2, which honestly, if I could get this controller to work with my Avata, it would be the only thing that I use. Let's talk about the pros of this controller and why I love it so much, and then I'll talk about the cons. It just feels good in your hands. There's a grip built into the controller, and if you are a pincher or a hybrid, it feels so much more natural than the game style controllers. The gimbals are absolutely amazing. I love the tension that they are shipped with. They feel smooth as butter. The sticks are a good length for me, screwed all the way in, and the throw of the sticks isn't too big to where I feel like I can't hit the maximum values, but it is big enough to where I feel like I have more control over the drone when using them. With the Tango 2 and the other controllers I have, the gimbals are plastic, and it feels like they rub and need to be lubricated after some use, which I can understand, but they don't feel as solid as these aluminum gimbals are or as smooth. All of the different switches on the controller provide so many uses to where I've been able to customize my controller so much more, and they are much more comfortable to access while I'm flying. There's just something about having moving parts made out of metal and feeling the click of the buttons that gives me confidence when I'm in my goggles and clicking them. The controller is super easy to set up and navigate, and then the fact that I can use this one controller for all of my drones and for the simulator has me way more consistent in my flying, and I don't feel like every single time I change a drone that I'm essentially having to get used to the controls again. All the accessories it comes with, gimbal protector, carrying case, tools, extra springs, it truly feels like a premium product that is a one-time purchase. You buy the controller, and then you don't have to get another one or any other controller for that matter. Now for the cons of this controller. It's big, and I know what you're thinking. Didn't you put that in the pros column? And I did. It's the size that makes it comfortable, but it also takes up more room in your bag, and it isn't as easy to conceal if you are wanting to do something like gorilla whooping. It's just the trade-off of having a comfortable controller. The strap on the back isn't my favorite. I've never had handles on my controllers, so I don't really care for it, and it just gets in the way when I'm trying to put the controller in the case. The SD card that it comes with that has the Edge TX software on it is a super cheap SD card, and it's got reports of failing after some use. So the second that I opened it up, I transferred all the data to a different SD card that I actually have confidence in. I do think the clear mode buttons on the controller are a little gimmicky for FPV pilots. If I'm changing the mode on my drone, I don't want to have to let go of my controls mid-flight, so I don't use those buttons at all. I have my modes programmed to one of the 3 toggle switches. The last thing is that the charge port and the data port are not all in one. It's 2 different ports. So if you're going to spend hours in the simulator and want to be able to charge your controller while connected to your computer, you will have to plug in 2 different cables, which is annoying. But honestly, the battery life is pretty good on this controller, so I'm not concerned, even with the 2 18650s that I use versus the 2S battery. Overall, this controller is amazing, and I absolutely love it. I will say it's not for everyone. If you are a thumber, a game style controller will probably be more comfortable for you. And if you're a pincher or a hybrid, you may not want to carry around something this big, but I personally won't be going back to the game style controllers. Now that I've had a taste of full-size controllers, I know that I couldn't ever go back. So what do you think about this controller? Have you tried the game style versus the traditional style, and which one do you prefer? Also, comment down below and let me know if you're a thumber or if you're a pincher and what style controller you use. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please consider supporting me on Patreon because it really helps out a ton and allows me to bring videos just like this to you every week.